What's up everybody, I'm Big Cam. Welcome back to a Comically Boston weekly Nerdy News Monday podcast where we talk all of the last week in nerddom and movie news, and in this case today one of my biggest topics is a big old battle of the Superman. So we'll get more into that in the middle of the show, and then we'll finish out the show with some DC and Marvel news. But I figured opening this episode with some devastating, heartbreaking, touching news, and that is that Michael Madsen of Quentin Tarantino films and many films, he died last week at, I believe, 61, something like that. But poor bastard, I really loved Michael Madsen, and he played Joe Gage in The Hateful Eight, which is definitely my favorite character of his, but he was in some other Quentin Tarantino films, Reservoir Dogs. He was in as Mr. Blonde, I believe, and you know, he's just a legendary actor, and I was like, oh man, I gotta shout out him at the beginning of the episode. And then also in the same week, Julian McMahon died at 56, and he was my original Doctor Doom, and I actually quite liked him as Doctor Doom, and I actually really expected to see him as Doctor Doom, you know, maybe get killed by Tony Stark's Doctor Doom, or, you know, like Doom taking out his other Doom variants. But like, I expected, the same way I'm expecting to see, you know, a bunch of variants of Reed Richards at some point, you know, maybe not in the Fantastic Four movie, but like, you know, I'm expecting to see John Krasinski, the original Fantastic Four, Reed Richards, and a whole bunch of them in the Hall of Reeds. I was expecting to see this guy. So, you know, obviously if they haven't shot anything already, they're not going to be able to. But it's very sad that both Michael Madsen and Julian McMahon passed. So condolences and thoughts and prayers out to their families, and very sad. And anybody that loved their work, go check out some of their other roles and, you know, remember them through their work and their movies, because those live on forever, right? Like, you'll be able to watch Michael Madsen in Hateful Eight forever. Won't be able to see new stuff from him, but that old work will always be there. But moving away from the somber news into the crazy month of July that we're having, and the crazy movie month for July, with Jurassic Park's already been out and having a great box office weekend. This coming up week we have Superman, and I have a wedding Friday, Saturday, so I have to see Superman Thursday, or I probably won't be seeing it at all until maybe Sunday. So I'm making sure I get to see Superman, and then 2 weeks later at the end of July, Fantastic Four First Steps. But Jurassic World, I wasn't able to just get over to Sunday like I wanted to. We went golfing Saturday, and we were all real sore, so we ended up just relaxing Sunday. But I was really bummed and pissed off at myself for not getting over to see Jurassic Park. But it didn't need me, because it had the biggest 4th of July opening of all time, with a $318 million debut, and Jurassic World remains one of the most iconic and successful franchises of all time. So congrats to Universal, and for the incredible marketing and brand tie-ins for this film. Massive congratulations to Gareth Edwards, the director, and David Koepp, the writer. And, you know, the VFX apparently look really good, although some of the reviews coming out are kind of split, you know, 50-50, maybe even a little bit less, of people that are saying, it just doesn't work for me, you know, like, it's fun to see the dinosaurs and like how good the movie looks, but the actual story isn't quite there. And maybe that's because the movie was rushed and, you know, kind of pushed out in like less than a year, or almost like about a year, maybe a year and a half at most, where a big blockbuster movie like this normally gets about 2 years, maybe even longer to make. I mean, shit, look at the Batman Part 2. He's been working on that for like 5 years, you know, like, so I think if Gareth Edwards is to make a second Jurassic World, and I'm sure he will, regardless of reviews, because of how much money this movie's about to make. And if he does get to make a second film and wants to make a second Jurassic World film, he should fight for time and take as much as he needs, because I mean, just think about how good the VFX looks, and it's only a year and a half. Imagine if they had 2.5, maybe 3 years to work on it, how much better it would look. You know, like, VFX can look great in 5 minutes, but if you give them 5 hours or 5 days, it's going to look even better, you know? Like, so shout out to all the VFX artists out there. But I'm dying to see it. I do like Gareth Edwards' movies. The last 4 he's made that I really love was Godzilla for 2014 with Bryan Cranston. Oh god, so good. Rogue One, also really good. The Creator, which came out last year, I believe, with John David Washington, which underrated but also looked really freaking good, but also kind of lost me with the story. Like, there was some parts of that movie where I was like, yeah, it looks great, like compelling, it's entertaining me just with the visuals alone. You know, at a certain point you can just mute it and just watch it. But I don't think that's what you want to do with a movie, right? Like, you really want that dialogue and everything to be, you know, pushing it forward, and then the visual effects just pulls you in, you know what I mean? Like, the story itself needs to be there, though. Like Godzilla 2014, like, the visual effects were almost secondary, right? Like, yes, they were going to do this giant kaiju monster, but they prolonged it like all monster movies should, and prolonged it and prolonged it and prolonged it until the final reveal was epic. And it didn't even come until like halfway through that movie, but the moment you see that Godzilla for the first time, you're like, yep, this is my new Godzilla. And, you know, but then there's still a great story with Elizabeth Olsen's character, with Aaron Taylor Johnson, and like, he's like trying to get back to his family, and then Bryan Cranston's like his dad, and that whole story. Like, that movie's phenomenal. Rogue One, also great. You know, if watching Rogue One after Andor has now come out, so sad. The Creator's still a good movie though, check it out. But if you have seen Jurassic World Rebirth, comment below your thoughts. Is it worth going to check out? I might need to go check that out this week, maybe even alone. My mother and sister and some friends wanted to go see that too, but nobody ended up hitting me up Sunday, so now this is wedding week and Superman week for me, so it's going to be a busy week, baby, and it's probably going to be hot because it's the middle of July, and Massachusetts for some reason forgot that we used to get rain and forget that we used to get coastal breezes. Now it's just hot as hell all the time. I don't understand. Like, doesn't make any sense. But you know what doesn't make sense, but it perfectly does, is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And they have their 35th anniversary. And I believe this is for the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the, you know, OG live action movie almost, I think. You know, I don't think it was animated. But hey dude, this is no cartoon, right? So yeah, I think it's live action, and it's 35th anniversary of the TMNT Turtles. And apparently it's coming back to theaters August 17th and 20th. So if you're a big TMNT fan and you love that original movie, make sure you find a theater near you that's going to be playing the 35th anniversary. I just thought that was hilarious. But another movie poster that looks funny, and starring Channing Tatum, Kirsten Dunst, Lakeith Stanfield, Juno Temple, and Peter Dinklage. And the movie is called Roofman, with, it looks like, Channing Tatum as the Roofman. And it says, based on actual events and terrible decisions. Oh boy. Only in theaters October 10th. So, interesting. Channing Tatum's next film. He's got a teddy bear on his shoulders, yellow glasses, a revolver in one hand, a pool float around his waist, little short tennis shorts. What is this guy up to? What is the Roofman about? I'm sure this is going to be chaos, but we'll see. Something else that I'm sure will be chaos is Alien Earth. We've been talking about this over the last few weeks in the multiple different posters coming out, but this is now a character poster and like the main characters of the show, I believe. And Alien Earth, an original series coming August 12th to FX and Hulu. Another movie poster coming to theaters August 1st, and that is The Bad Guys 2. And I actually quite liked The Bad Guys, the original one. You know, it's a kid's film, but was still a damn good animation. You were like, wow, I'm buying into this wolf and this shark and this piranha and this snake, you know, and the voice actors for them are all pretty damn good as well. And I believe they got a sequel, but like in holiday specials and like more of like a TV budget, and then it seems now they're getting a feature budget for a animated feature film for their second film coming out in August. So I'll probably have to take Langone and his daughter Avery over to that and check out Bad Guys 2. Comment below your thoughts on Bad Guys 1. Another movie coming out is called Afterburn, and it says the apocalypse isn't for everyone. It's starring Dave Bautista, and this looks like maybe, I want to say Dubai, maybe London, maybe, I don't know, Vegas? I don't know, I don't know. But starring Dave Bautista, Olga Kurylenko, Krzysztof Christopher Hebju, I'm sorry if I butchered that name, and then Sam L. Jackson. I don't know Christopher, but Olga Kurylenko was in Thunderbolts for like half a second, right? But it was also in Black Widow as Taskmaster. So her, Dave Bautista, and Sam L. Jackson, 3 returning Marvel vets to this movie, coming maybe to Netflix, or coming soon only in theaters, so no release date quite yet, but another Dave Bautista movie. This guy is now officially a leading man and is just starring in movies. Maybe movies that not a whole lot of people are seeing, but hey Dave, I'm checking him out. I saw it in The Lost Lands and I thought it was great. Good. I thought it was good. I thought you were great in it though. It is also the 50th anniversary of Jaws, and you're gonna need a bigger screen. You know, one of the biggest lines from that movie, you're gonna need a bigger boat. You're gonna need a bigger screen for Jaws 50th anniversary. So experience it in IMAX, back in theaters August 29th. So the 50th anniversary for Jaws, and if you're someone like me that isn't 50, you gotta go see Jaws at least once in your lifetime in theaters, right? Like, so me and my buddy a couple months ago, when we thought this was going to be out, we're dying to go see this, and then we were like, maybe it won't come out, you know. I didn't see it playing anywhere in my theaters, but it will be the end of August, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Maybe it should be the beginning of August or middle of August, but the very end of August heading into September, so maybe like a back to school for the kids type of thing. Take them to Jaws and scare the pants off of them, like kids probably back in 1975 were. Like my mother, she was like, what, maybe 11 when she saw it, and she was like, oh my god, I remember seeing it and I hated the ocean, I scared the shit out of me. And I was like, yeah, no, you were the prime audience that they were looking to scare the shit out of. Like, makes sense. But comment below if you'll be going to check out Jaws 50th anniversary in theaters. Sounds fun to me. Another movie that sounds fun and looks really great is Christopher Nolan's Odyssey, and there's a brief poster here, 7/17/26, so coming about a year from now, with Matt Damon as Odysseus, Anne Hathaway, Tom Holland, Zendaya, Lupita Nyong'o, Charlize Theron, Robert Pattinson, everybody else in Hollywood. I mean, the Odyssey's cast is stacked. Christopher Nolan directing, so I'm sure it's going to be phenomenal. And he's conquering the epic poem, the Odyssey, you know, and man, I think this movie's going to be unreal. And I was trying to do a trailer reaction, and there was this other poster that came out that said Defy the Gods for the Odyssey. But the trailer for it, it was a brief, like minute long, maybe 70 seconds, minute, 10-second teaser trailer, and it is currently playing in theaters in front of the biggest movie releases, probably Jurassic, probably Superman, probably, you know, whatever. So get to the theaters early if you want to see the trailers for this Odyssey, because anybody that's tried to make a video about it has gotten completely blocked and stricken off of YouTube, so I won't be able to actually play the footage or even show images from it, because Christopher Nolan is very dead set on this Odyssey film and the trailer for it being shown on a big screen in theaters where it's meant to be shown, and most likely will not release the trailer until he is ready, which will probably be like 6 months before the movie. So we're talking maybe January of next year. I need to see this trailer before that. Like, come on, man. It looks good, man. Oh, it's got to be almost ready. And I also heard recently that, like, Zendaya and some of the people that are in that film, Robert Pattinson, have to be done filming and it has to be wrapped fairly soon. But I also heard Charlize Theron's shooting some Cersei stuff where she's like this powerful witch or whatever, and she's shooting that stuff for that movie currently. But at the same time, Zendaya just got reported that she landed in Budapest for the filming of Dune Messiah, Dune Part 3, which I think Robert Pattinson's also going to be in. Timothée Chalamet, of course, returning. I think Jason Momoa is supposed to return, probably as like a clone of Duncan Idaho or something, because he did die in the first movie. But I did think his character was severely underutilized in that first movie, so now we're getting a chance maybe to see him the way we needed to see him, you know what I mean? But moving on here to some DC news, as we're talking about Lobo, Jason Momoa. And there was a new rumor going around that there has been a casting of Huntress in the DCU, and that casting is James Gunn's long-lost friend Palm Klementieff, who played Mantis, who played Paris in Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible films, the last two at least. And I really love Palm Klementieff. She's a psychopath, but she's also so funny. And the only reason I say she's a psychopath is because she's been doing so much skydiving and posted videos of her just flying out of planes, and like she's at the point where skydiving where she can jump alone, like she doesn't need anybody on her back. Like on the Mission Impossible sets, the joke was that her nickname is Palm Cruise. So yeah, Palm Cruise is down to do some action, down to be a badass woman superhero. So yeah, Mantis felt good for her. She was funny in that role, but she didn't get to quite do as much action as we wanted to see Mantis do. So maybe the Huntress will get to do some badass action. I mean, look at this picture here. She kind of got like a crossbow. She got this like long black hair. She got this like crazy comic book outfit that I'm sure she'll want to wear. The character looks cool to me. I don't know if we've seen a Huntress before, but I'd be down to see Palm Klementieff play that role. But getting more into some DC news and Superman, they've been doing a worldwide press tour, and Superman was on top of the tallest building in London, and you can see the three of them are real tiny down there on the railing. David Cornsweet, James Gunn, and Rachel Brosnahan, and they have this giant Superman strung up between the towers of this big old building. And like you see from a distance shot too, like it looks like a substantial thing up there, and it's a big old building, and that Superman is just soaring above. You know, look up, man can fly. And then we thought this might have been a joke popcorn bucket, but it looks like it's legit in a popcorn bucket available at Regal's if you have a Regal cinema near you. And this is the Heat Vision popcorn popper bucket. So I don't know if it's just like fake making popcorn and they just toss the popcorn in there, or if this is a real popcorn making machine and Superman makes it look like he's the one popcorn popping with the laser vision. I don't know, but kind of a cool popcorn bucket nonetheless. But you saw the title of this video and the Battle of the Supermans, and INART versus Hot Toys Superman, or Hot Toys versus INART Superman, and they both came out last week, and I immediately went and pre-ordered mine because it said that you can possibly get it between now and like 4 months from now, and I was like, what are you talking about? This movie's not even out yet, and I can get the figure. You can pre-order it, but like it said earliest of June 2025, and then the other date was like maybe September of 2025. But even so, that's this year. Like in a couple months I'll have a Superman figure. Daredevil Born Again dropped the same type of thing. Oh, you can pre-order the figure. Same with the Elena. You can pre-order the figure as soon as the movie or the show came out. But then like the release for it isn't until 2026 next year. So they had to have been working on this for some time. I don't know how long, but the figure itself, the colors look really vibrant. The details on the blue look really good. But I don't have any INART figures myself, but there was this big discussion online of, yes, the Superman Hot Toys looks fine, looks good, but when you put it next to the INART, it kind of looks worse. But the things like that INART did really well was like the one-to-one accuracy of the suit in the body, and you know, the colors are a little bit more muted, the symbol is a little bit less sharp, it's got a little bit more rounded edges like maybe the suit in real life does. But we're also saying this, but we haven't really seen the movie yet, so like, I don't know, maybe the Hot Toys one is closer to the more accurate suit. But from the trailers and stuff, it's looking like the INART suit is more accurate, and like the accessories might be better. The Crypto itself, because it comes with Superman and Crypto. The Hot Toys Crypto is in like a permanent flying pose, I believe. The fur doesn't look very good. The eyeballs on the dog don't look like a real dog. It just looks like an ornament, people are saying, which is heartbreaking, but like also like it's kind of true. And then they just stuck a pole into the bottom of him to make him look like he's flying. I will give Hot Toys the base for Superman, like the magnet base that hooks onto the top. looks pretty good, looks better than the INART one, but then the INART face sculpt looks really good. But let's go through these pictures here. You can see Superman and Krypto and the Hot Toys on the base there, and then you can see them side by side with each other here. And I don't know, the David Cornsweet likeness on the Hot Toys one does look really good to me, but the arms and in the body and the trunks, he does look like a thick old boy, where maybe he's a little bit more slender in some of these trailers. But he did put on a whole bunch of muscle and weight for this film, so I don't know. I think it looks good enough for me. I don't have any Supermans that I'll be able to compare him next to other than that giant statue, but I think I'll have to put this Superman in front of him, and I'm sure when I see this movie Thursday, I'm going to absolutely fall in love with David Cornsweet and Krypto in this whole Superman movie. And you can see some of the accessories he comes with. He comes with some swap out interchangeable hands, some grabbing hands, some punching hands, some, you know, straight back like he's flying backwards, some out in front, you know, fists flying hands. 3 display styles, magnetic function, and it looks like he can stand on it. Krypto can maybe magnet to it. The base can like magnet to the back of his cape, so it looks like he's like flying but can still be, you know, up in the air, and it's not like a waist grabber, it's a magnet, so that's kind of new. I don't have any bases like that. It does have rolling eyeballs. He kind of has this little smirk. I kind of really dig it. And it says newly developed body with enhanced articulation, so hopefully he'll be able to get both arms up above his head without the suit looking crazy, crinkling, or weird. But the way that the material of that suit looks, I'd be really curious to see if he could get into that pose. You might need to rep more of like a museum down by his side pose. But I don't know, I'll have to check out that when I get the figure in hand. But this INART one, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm from Boston, Massachusetts in the United States, and INART, I believe the figures are only available in China, New Zealand, and Australia, and the only way to get them like in the United States is like to buy them through a second dealer to get them here, kind of like Sideshow and Hot Toys. I didn't realize that that was the thing, was like Sideshow, Hot Toys are made in China or Hong Kong, and then Sideshow's like the American distributor. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's how it works. And so I've been, as an American, able to get a lot of things through Sideshow, but I might need to cop one of these INARTs because it comes with 2 different head sculpts. One of them is an eyes closed, like head down. Well, eyes closed, you can put the head whatever direction you want, I'm guessing. But, you know, maybe like he's absorbing sunlight, but like on your shelf, I'm not sure why you'd want an eyes closed head sculpt, but I don't know, maybe when we see the movie, this head sculpt and this pose is a big pose in the film. But, you know, it does look really good. The jawline, the suit, like, but it is a little bit more muted. It's not as vibrant as, say, the Hot Toys one, which I believe someone like me, and the way that this color pops and the color's going to pop on screen, I'm going to want it to be vibrant. But, you know, you look at this cape, the logo, I mean, the base is a little bit worse, but the actual figure itself looks really good. And then you look at this last photo and you're like, wow, that David Cornsweet head sculpt is phenomenal. The little curly Q hair, I mean, it doesn't even look like sculpted hair. It doesn't look like real hair, but it looks like the hair's freshly wet and slicked back. Like, it looks really, really good. Like, comment below. Are you somebody that's a Hot Toys collector, and are you going to get the Hot Toys Superman? Are you going to wait until after you see the film to decide if you're going to order it or not? But I also figured, you know, like, if you are a collector out there, you should know that there's 2 different options. That there's a Hot Toys option that's pretty great, but there's also an INART option that's pretty great. So I don't know the price differences between the 2 or how hard it is to get an INART in the States. If you're somebody that knows more about that, comment below and give me that information. But I don't know, 2 very good looking figs. I might even have to get both and just see how they look next to each other type of shit. But moving on to some Marvel news to close out the show. Thunderbolts is available on digital release right now, but I saw this poster that I don't know if I ever talked about that I thought was just funny. And it's like a Thunderbolts like candy holster canister thing, but like an old style thing poster. It says, in 6 punchy flavors, more bang for your Bucky, you know, which I thought was a hilarious thing from the press tour. And like they're in the limousine and John Walker turns around and sees Bucky behind him and goes, it's Bucky, you know, like Florence Pugh's impersonation of Wyatt Russell doing it was so funny. But you can see the 6 of them there: Yelena, Bucky, Taskmaster, ooh, rest in peace, Red Guardian, Ghost, and John F. Walker. They honestly should have put Bob instead of Taskmaster, but it's all good. Another poster for them, and it says only in cinemas. I believe they have cashed out their worldwide box office run with like 390 something mil, just under 400 mil. Made profit, but not nearly as much as Marvel would like them to make, and maybe with the Thunderbolts press budget, they could have maybe not made money. Who knows? But we'll never know, but Marvel knows. And I think Thunderbolts was phenomenal, the new Avengers, whatever you want to call it, but I can't wait to see it again. I might have to rent it, but I am trying to hold out to save some money so that I don't have to rent it and just see it when it comes out on Disney+. But I'm not sure when that will be. Like for Thunderbolts, or the previous ones, it was like 45 days, but for Captain America Brave New World, they waited longer than 45 days, so I'm not sure when the Thunderbolts will be on Disney+, but it is available on digital right now. And we got the Fantastic Four right around the corner, and they released these international character posters, and I'm not sure what these read, but if you're from, I'm guessing China, maybe Korea, I'm sorry if I'm being ignorant, but whatever language this is, if you could translate for me, I'm sure it says, you know, Fantastic Four, Pedro Pascal, Reed Richards, whatever. But it is clearly a Mr. Fantastic character poster for an international poster. You got another one here for Vanessa Kirby's Miss Invisible Woman, Sue Storm. You got one for Ben Grimm, The Thing, Ebon Moss-Backrack playing him, and you see this picture here, like the rock fist smashing through this cover. He actually looks pretty crispy, the face of that thing there, and like the way his blue eyes are popping off the blue suit really looks good. I don't know if I'm gonna love this Ben Grimm head with the big old thick eyebrow with no beard, but once he gets like a little bit of a beard, a rock beard growing, I am totally here for that. And then the final character poster, international character poster, is Johnny Storm's The Human Torch, with his posters burning a little bit, but Joseph Quinn playing Johnny Storm, The Human Torch, and honestly the relationship between him and Ben looks like it's going to be hilarious, and I can't wait to see that. They also got a People magazine cover, and it says, "Making time for family," and you see the Fantastic Four and Herbie there, Ben's in like a suit, they're all suited and booted. You actually see Vanessa Kirby's back to us, and she almost got a little bit of cheeked up action, but they covered it up. But making time for family, America's finest family on how they stay grounded while flying high. Trying to do that like 60s voice. But apparently they tried to really lean into that 60s futuristic, like, you know, like the way that like old-timey baseball announcers used to talk. And Pedro apparently was so good at it that they were like, dial it back a little bit, sound more like your voice. So he had to dial it back into more of his own accent. Marvel so far this year, I mean, with Fantastic Four coming out, it's probably going to be another banger. But so far in 2025 for Marvel, Captain America Brave New World in February. In January, we had Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man animated TV show. That was also really good. We had Daredevil Born Again, which I really loved and was awesome. Ironheart just finished up. That was also awesome. And Thunderbolts was the other film that came out this year. Thought that was also awesome. So far for me, all bangers through 2025 from Marvel, and with the Fantastic Four coming up, that's definitely going to continue the trend. I'm not sure what the next TV show is. Maybe Eyes of Wakanda, I think, coming up in August. And then later this year, I believe we have Wonder Man coming out in December. And I'm not sure if there's anything in between, but there's gotta be, right? There's gotta be some other type of show or animated show. Maybe Marvel Zombies, maybe another animated show. But Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is definitely getting a season 2, and I think we're going to be getting X-Men 97 season 2 next year, probably in January to start the year out as well. But we're also going to be getting Daredevil Born Again season 2 next year, I believe. So hopefully we don't have to wait an extra year for that, because the way they made that sound, it sounded like we might be getting like a Daredevil Born Again season each year, and that would be awesome. But just finishing out this show with a brief little Ironheart spoiler. So if you haven't seen Ironheart and you don't want to talk about it, see you later. Thank you for watching. But Zelma is a very interesting character. In the post-credit of Ironheart showed Zelma meeting the Hood, but you know, she doesn't necessarily know he's the Hood, but Parker goes to meet her to figure out some magic shit. So they might be going off to do some abracadabra, as he said. So I really was digging her character though, but the magic side of things, are we going to be seeing a strange academy in the future? And we're going to be seeing a bunch of different magic, adjacent magic types, and maybe like a Zelma, maybe the Hood, maybe America Chavez, you know, maybe a Ned using Portal Ring, you know, like maybe all these people that aren't huge characters get thrown together in this strange academy show, and then, you know, the bigger actors in it would be like a brief cameo from Doctor Strange, and Wong would probably then be like the bigger person in it. But like, I'd be here for that. Comment below if you want to see a strange academy show. But then also, something that I missed that I didn't talk about in my breakdown of Ironheart is right before, you know, Riri notices that Natalie is still alive, you can see Natalie, like she says she's working to break through the magic or something, and is what Riri says she's working on in this garage. But you can see the Ironheart suit in the background, in the heart logo on the chest is kind of lit up, the eyes are lit up, and you can just barely make out that there's a hood over the iron suit. So Riri is wearing the iron hood, right? So is she Ironhood now, or Ironheart is Ironhood? Same but different. But you know, there is a comics where there's an Iron Man suit that wears the hood, so maybe are we getting like the iconic Iron Hood, and she's going to be taking like a dark turn? But also, like in the press releases of talking about Mephisto and the things that happen in that show, I'm thinking Riri might be a real headache for Mephisto in the future, because she's too smart and she's going to be trying to like outsmart him, which could end her up even more poorly. But like, she made a deal with this guy, which seems so dumb, and she's smart, but maybe she did the deal anyways, even though she knew it was dumb, just because she wanted Natalie back, and she knew the risk. But she was like, if I could get my real best friend back, like I'm struggling just to bring the AI back, if I can get my real best friend back from the dead, I'm gonna do it, no matter what the consequences. But she should have thought about the consequences and how bad they could be, because Mephisto, it could get her soul. I mean, like, so I want to see an Ironheart season 2, or a Strange Academy, or a Midnight Suns, where Riri's the big bad Iron Hood, or maybe she's, you know, fighting to get her soul back or something. I don't know what it is, but I would be here for it. Comment below if you saw Ironheart, if you saw that little detail where the hood is on the iron suit. So who knows what's going to be happening with that, but I was really here for Mephisto, and Riri Williams, Dominic Thorne's Ironheart was awesome. So go check that out if you haven't. Stay tuned for Superman later this week. Some movie reviews coming to the channel this week. Some new stuff that came out. Some older Superman stuff that we're going to be talking about. And then the new James Gunn Superman on Friday. And some Hot Toys figure unboxings coming over the weekend. Thank you guys so much. My name is Big Cam. If you made it this far in the video, please consider liking, commenting down below. All of my links for my other social medias in the description below. My letterbox, Twitter, Instagram, all those links. Go check them out and follow me on those if you haven't. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button on this channel, about 98% of people are not subscribed. So please subscribe, like this video, hit that bell so you don't miss future videos and you get the notifications when they come out. Once again, my name's Big Cam. Thank you guys for joining me on another weekly nerdy news, Comically Boston podcast, and I will see you beautiful people in the next one. Peace!